Part 74. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 732. Yang Tian was stunned. Let's talk about a simple one, such as condensing candied haws, each of which is closely connected, and each one is 10 times larger than the other. There are countless methods like this. So, breakthroughs don't need to be taught. As long as you are not stupid, you can master a certain balance and complete the breakthrough after a few attempts. Feng Xian laughed. Yang Tian was stunned again. What do you mean, implying that I am stupid? Just now, if I hadn't helped you break through, you couldn't absorb all the faith energy, and it would have been wasted. Otherwise, for such a trivial matter as a breakthrough, why would I say a word more? Feng Xian sneered again. Yang Tian's mouth twitched, and he felt that this person was very pretentious, but his pretense was very profound and very reasonable, which made it impossible to refute. Squeak! Huang Mao pushed the door in. At this time, Feng Xian's soul had already flown out of Yang Tian Palace and stood beside Yang Tian. Seeing Huang Mao coming in, Yang Tian and Feng Xian looked at him. But now, Huang Mao can no longer see Feng Xian, nor can he feel Feng Xian's presence. This is obviously because Yang Tian has made a breakthrough, and Yang Tian's soul and Feng Xian's spirit have also become stronger. Do you have another soul in your body? Huang Mao asked straight to the point, half out of concern, but more out of curiosity. Because he had seen that Yang Tian and Feng Xian looked exactly like Yang, but with different hair and eye colors. Yeah, Yang Tian glanced at Feng Xian and nodded with a smile. Since Feng Xian has been discovered by Huang Mao, it is impossible to hide it now. Of course, Yang Tian himself doesn't care. After 2 lifetimes of friendship, doesn't he still trust Huang Mao? Yang Tian doesn't care. Feng Xian didn't react much either. He had read all of Yang Tian's memories a long time ago and knew that the relationship between Yang Tian and Huang Mao was just like that between him and Longdu. That has surpassed the general friendship. Before, it was my own mistake. I misjudged it. Feng Xian stared at Huang Mao and suddenly sighed. In his opinion, Yang Tian is a demon-like existence. 7 beast souls, a strong divine body, and powerful divine power, this foundation is beyond the reach of anyone. In Feng Xian's opinion, if he had not understood the Dao more deeply, he would definitely not be Yang Tian's opponent in the same realm. Combat experience. What's the use of that? Without the blessing of the Dao's profound meaning, it is impossible to break the defense. In other words, Feng Xian recognized Yang Tian very much in his heart, but he was proud by nature, and he gave people a feeling that he was difficult to get along with, and it was impossible for him to praise others. He knew that Yang Tian was demon-like enough and powerful enough. He originally thought that Yang Tian was a unique existence on this earth, so he did not act too cautiously. Anyway, no one could discover him, but he did not expect that there was another freak. The dragon energy is vast and powerful. Feng Xian took a deep look at Huang Mao. In his opinion, the original dragon energy in Huang Mao's Danshan Qi Si was about to condense into a blue dragon, giving people a great majesty. The foundation is very deep and solid. If Longdo saw him, I wonder how ashamed he would be. Feng Xian stared at the yellow-haired man, and was amazed. In their era, Longdo was the king of the dragon domain, and his cultivation reached the 8th level of the void transformation realm. Looking at the entire universe, he was also the top existence of the pyramid. However, Longdo only had 1 dragon beast soul. And the yellow-haired man in front of him had 7 dragon beast souls, which was incredible. He knew that the 2 young men in front of him were both talented and had a very solid foundation. What they lacked was only cultivation and understanding of the Great Way. Yang Tian smiled slightly. He was connected to Feng Xian's soul, just as Feng Xian knew his thoughts, he also knew Feng Xian's thoughts. Feng Xian's memory was very vast, and Yang Tian could not read it all. When Feng Xian just got the memory, Yang Tian could know it. It's a long story. The person in the 10 domains of the universe is the bird domain. To some extent, it is my previous life. Yang Tian briefly introduced Feng Xian's identity to Huang Mao. As soon as Yang Tian finished speaking, Feng Xian's spirit took control of Yang Tian's divine avatar container. In an instant, Yang Tian's hair grew longer and turned red. He stretched out his hand and passed a set of skills to Huang Mao. This is the Ba Long Ju, a superior practice method, and its attributes are very consistent with yours, Feng Xian said. This set of Ba Long Ju is exactly the practice method that Long Do practiced. He and Long Do were originally friends of life and death. The two sides exchanged martial arts, studied skills, discussed the Great Way, and advanced and retreated together. Of course, each has its own strengths. He thought for a while and passed the time and space transfer to Huang Mao. This time and space transfer is also a superior practice method, but without attributes, those real strong people don't look down on it at all. But the time and space transfer also contains the Great Way of Time and the Great Way of Space. In other words, the time and space transfer is not only a set of practice methods, but also a mystery. You cannot practice the skills, just comprehend the Great Way in it. Of course, it is very difficult to comprehend the profound meaning of the Great Dao. It depends on how well you are in tune with that Great Dao. If you are very well in tune with the Great Dao of Time and the Great Dao of Space, even if you don't have the ability to move time and space, you still have a high chance of comprehending it. Similarly, if your compatibility with the Great Dao of Time and the Great Dao of Space is very low, or even zero, then even if you have the power of time and space transfer, it will be difficult for you to comprehend it, and you may not be able to comprehend it at all in your life. It's like two students. One is naturally intelligent and can become a talent by self-study even without a teacher. The other is dull and can hardly become a talent even with a good teacher. Therefore, when masters recruit disciples, they attach great importance to the talents of their disciples. Of course, this talent has a very broad definition. Some people are good at reading and studying, some are good at sports, and some are good at playing games. As the saying goes, there are top talents in every field, and the talents and compatibility of individuals for various great ways are different. The 10 domains of the universe are extremely vast, and the various species and lives are immeasurable. In the universe, although there are very few people who comprehend the Great Dao of Time, there are definitely more than just Feng Xian. It's just that Feng Xian comprehends the most and has cultivated the Great Dao of Time to perfection. Feng Xian had also passed this time and space transfer skill to Long Do, but unfortunately Long Do had not comprehended the Great Dao of Time, but only comprehended a little of the Great Dao of Space. For Feng Xian, whether Huang Mao could comprehend the Great Dao of Time and the Great Dao of Space depended on his own luck and the degree of compatibility. Just take a look at this time and space transfer skill. If you can gain something, it would be the best. If you can't gain anything, don't put your energy on it, Feng Xian said. In his opinion, Yang Tian was different from Huang Mao. Not to mention that Yang Tian had already comprehended a little of the Great Dao of Time. The key point was that Yang Tian had the time and space crystal and a world of his own. Even if Huang Mao comprehended a little of the Great Dao of Time, what would it matter? It was indeed beneficial to actual combat. But the most amazing thing about the Great Dao of Time was that it could increase the time for cultivation. Super God Undead Lord. Author, Ba Wangshi San. Chapter 733. In the Tegzu world, Yang Tian's time slowing down will not be restricted by the laws of heaven, so it can increase the time for cultivation. And Huang Mao, let alone whether he can comprehend a little bit of the Great Dao of Time, even if he comprehends it, he does not have that kind of Taoist tool, and he does not have his own world, so he cannot increase the time for cultivation. But despite this, Yang Tian Feng Xian still hopes that Huang Mao can comprehend the Great Dao of Time and the Great Dao of Space. After all, it is indeed beneficial to actual combat. Thank you, Senior Huang Mao couldn't help but feel happy when he received two great gifts right away. He knew that Feng Xian had occupied Yang Tian's body at this time, so he nodded and thanked him. No problem. If you have the opportunity, you can go to Lanjiao to develop. There, I believe you can get the best resources. Feng Xian sighed. Even Long Do would like this kid very much, right? Hearing this, Huang Mao's mouth twitched slightly. That Lanjiao is the upper domain, can you go there just by saying it? The next period of time was very peaceful. The world government united the countries to build a new city, transform the world, and develop towards the era of superpowers, while people are slowly adapting. As for Yang Tian, Huang Mao had nothing to do and spent a long time in cultivation. Yang Tian's cultivation speed was far slower than Huang Mao's. At that time, the space-time transfer technique had no attributes after all. Yang Tian absorbed the spiritual energy of heaven and earth and cultivated it into his own dark energy, with a very low conversion rate. Huang Mao cultivated the tyrant dragon technique, with a very high conversion rate. Yang Tian absorbed 1 mu of spiritual energy from heaven and earth, but he could only transform 1 drop of original energy. Huang Mao absorbed 1 mu of spiritual energy from heaven and earth, and could transform 90 drops of original dragon energy. The gap was too big. There was no way, Yang Tian did not have a set of dark attribute techniques suitable for him. Huang Mao was also righteous and planned to give all his insect pills to Yang Tian. After all, insect pills were pure energy crystals, which were much stronger than the spiritual energy of heaven and earth on the earth. But Yang Tian refused. After all, after absorbing and refining the energy of faith, his 2 physical containers had reached the 4th level of the divine realm. Huang Mao was only at the 3rd level of the divine realm. Yang Tian was naturally embarrassed to occupy Huang Mao's cultivation resources. It is also worth mentioning that Huang Mao has been comprehending the time and space transfer for a long time, but he still has no understanding of the time and space avenues. This shows that Huang Mao's compatibility with the 2 avenues is not high, at least far less than Yang Tian. In addition, Yang Tian's 2 physical containers are both practicing and comprehending the avenues. As time goes by, Yang Tian's understanding of the time avenue gradually deepens, and he can already slow down 5 times. According to Feng Xian, his current limit is to slow down 8 times. But Yang Tian can't do that yet, he can only slow down 5 times. Then in the Taixu world of white crystals, Yang Tian enjoys 5 times the time to practice, and the spiritual energy of the world in the Taixu world is much richer than that of the earth. Therefore, Yang Tian's practice progress is very fast. Although it is not as good as Huang Mao for the time being, it is also many times better than the god's clone. Several months passed like this. The earth is developing steadily, and the insect forces are also very quiet and shrinking. Swoosh! Finally one day, the space insect pill in the desert fluctuated. Immediately, a human figure stood up, his whole body was dark blue, holding a steel fork, and looked like a sea monster, like a deep-sea night demon. The Zerg race took the lead and walked in the void above the desert. Afterwards, tens of thousands of Zerg people and countless insect beasts came out of the space wormhole continuously. In the blink of an eye, a desert around the space wormhole was covered by a large number of Zerg, densely packed, and terrifying. The people who came were General Deep Blue and his Zerg army. At the beginning, he led the army to attack the alien race, but was defeated and seriously injured. So he sent the Red Worm, the Phantom Worm, and the 8-legged Iron Worm as the vanguard to invade the Earth. Today, he has finally recovered from his injuries and led the main force to the Earth. General the Phantom Worm had been waiting for a long time. Seeing General Deep Blue coming, he hurriedly half-knelt to salute. At the beginning, although the Red Worms, Phantom Worms, and 8-legged Iron Worms were only a small team under General Deep Blue, a vanguard force, their number was more than hundreds of millions. Now, the Red Worms and 8-legged Iron Worms have fallen, leaving only Phantom Worms and a small number of Zerg. Where are the red worms and eight-legged iron worms? They didn't come to greet me when I came. Could it be that they don't take me seriously after getting the treasure? Deep Blue looked down at the phantom worms and said indifferently. In his opinion, the red worms, phantom worms, and eight-legged iron worms have conquered the earth and have obtained the so-called treasure. P.S. The treasure in their eyes is the white crystal. Now, only the phantom worms are here to greet me, and the other two are nowhere to be seen. I'm afraid they are plotting a rebellion. The Zerg are murderous and aggressive, and strength is king. Loyalty, righteousness, and emotions are all as pale as paper. If you are stronger than me, I can surrender, but if one day, I am stronger than you, then I'm embarrassed. Zerg, that's the kind of Zerg. Deep Blue had to be on guard. They have already fallen, the phantom insect said awkwardly. Deep Blue was stunned for a moment. A group of high-level insects under his command also looked stunned. As high-level insects, they naturally knew the strength of the red insects and the eight-legged iron insects, and they were lucky not to be injured when they attacked the alien race, and they were still in peak condition. Now they are just attacking a weak planet, and they are said to fall. Good for nothing, Deep Blue shouted angrily. This life planet is very weak, and the strongest is only the third level of the God realm. And you guys are all high-level Zerg people. Not only did you fail to capture this weak planet, but you were defeated so thoroughly. Shenlan stared at the phantom insects, with undisguised disappointment and contempt in his eyes. High-level Zerg people, at least their physical bodies have reached the fourth level of the God body, among which the red worms are the most powerful, fourth level of the God body, fourth level of the God power. However, they died at the hands of the third level of the God realm. Zerg, when have you ever suffered such a loss? On Ju Wang Star, through the space Zerg, the Zerg can sense the strength of the corresponding planet's breath. A few months ago, General Shenlan led the Zerg army to attack the alien race and failed. He fled back to Ju Wang Star and happened to find that the breath of the earth had become stronger. That day was the day when Taixu on Earth was shut down. The whole people awakened, and countless ordinary people on Earth instantly possessed power. But at that time, the strongest on Earth was only the third level of the God realm. Today, several months later, before setting off, General Shenlan also observed the breath of the Earth through the space insects. The breath of the Earth is getting stronger and stronger, and there are 7 fourth-level gods among them. He originally thought that the 5 people were red insects, phantom insects, 8-legged iron insects, and 4 other intermediate insects, who had evolved to the advanced insect level. He originally thought that the red insects, phantom insects, and 8-legged iron insects had already taken over the Earth. However, the 7 people were actually Yang Tian and Yang Tian's clone, Huang Mao and Huang Mao's clone, Kai Lin and Kai Lin's clone, and phantom insects. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 734. The Zerg population in the insect domain is huge, and even though it occupies most of the living planet, it is still not enough. Zerg tribes often kill each other in order to compete for territory and resources. The environment of the Earth's deserts is very harsh, like those insect stars that have been eaten up and abandoned. The Zerg are very powerful and are naturally not afraid of the harsh environment in the desert, but they still dislike it very much. General Deep Blue's large army has descended on the Earth, and countless insectoids and beasts have rushed out and invaded all over the world. General Deep Blue and many high-level insect men under his command, as well as the phantom insect, came to the mansion built by the phantom insect on the Earth. Shen Landang still refused to let him take the position of the phantom insect and sat on the main seat. Many high-level insect men under his command were sitting on both sides. Huan Chong is sitting in the chief position on the left, which shows his high status. In fact, In general, Deep Blue's army, red worms, phantom worms, and eight-legged iron worms all have a very high status. Although there are many high-level bugs under Deep Blue's command, red bugs, phantom bugs, and eight-legged iron bugs are indeed the top ones. In just a few months, 6 Earthlings have been promoted from the 3rd level of the Divine Realm to the 4th level of the Divine Realm. This potential is not insignificant. Shenlan looked solemn. Looking at the insect realm, the insect race is already a species that evolves very quickly, but the higher the level, the harder it is to evolve. It is very difficult for a 3rd level intermediate insect man to evolve into a 4th level high level insect man, and it goes without saying that for the 5th level insect general that follows. In comparison, the improvement speed of Yang Tian, Huang Mao, Kailan, and their god clones is indeed a bit too abnormal. Of course, now that Kailan has lost her bloodline, her potential has been greatly reduced, and she can no longer compare with Yang Tian Huang Mao. General, according to my observation, there are only 2 people on Earth who are really troublesome. Their names are Yang Tian and Huang Xiaolong. Currently, these 2 are both Earth marshals and have extremely high reputations on Earth. As long as they die, the Earth will fall sooner or later. Phantom Insect continued. Shenlan glanced deeply at Phantom Insect. Oh. Phantom Insect stood up and half knelt on the ground. General, I can deal with these 2 people with confidence. How sure are you? Dark blue eyes lit up. 90%, I found that they all have fatal weaknesses. No, according to my observation, most people on Earth have similar weaknesses, Phantom Bug said with a smile. In that case, why didn't you kill them earlier and why did you wait until now? Shenlan asked. I can only defeat them one by one. They've all been getting together recently. Now that you, General, have led the Zerg army to come, they will inevitably split up and act separately, and my opportunity has also come, Phantom Insect said. Okay. I will watch your performance, and you will mobilize the Zerg army. If necessary, I can also take action myself, Shenlan smiled. Phantom Insect smiled slightly. General, just watch the show. Deep Blue, haha. World Government Headquarters. Warning, Zerg invades Earth. Warning, Zerg invades Earth. Warning, Zerg invades Earth. The sirens sounded continuously, and all the strong men immediately rioted. Several leaders immediately started a combat meeting. Everyone, the number of Zerg invaders this time is extremely large, many times more than last time. Currently, they have invaded all over the world, so the entire army is dispatched to eliminate them as quickly as possible, several leaders announced by slamming the table. The headquarters is not afraid of being invaded. Now a few months have passed, and the headquarters has extremely strong defenses and possesses the world's most advanced technology. What's more, the headquarters is originally a huge teleportation array, and many marshals, generals, and soldiers can teleport back to protect the headquarters at any time. As the meeting ended, the entire army moved out. Most people work in teams, led by marshals or generals. As for Yang Tian and Huang Mao, who had strong personal strength and an endless supply of divine power in their bodies, they did not lead the army. Yang Tian and Lu Yan acted together. Huang Mishuangguo acted together. Over the past few months, many developed countries under the world government have built new cities. The so-called new city is a new city. It not only has strong defense, but also has its own teleportation array. This is very convenient. When the Zerg invades, the strong men of the world government can rush to the battlefield immediately. Togo New City, this is a new city invaded by Zerg. The sky is covered with all kinds of flying insects. The streets are also full of terrifying insect beasts. The city was in a mess, with countless buildings destroyed and collapsed. The streets were littered with mutilated human corpses, and the smell of blood permeated the air. All means of transportation in the new city have been eliminated, including subways, buses, and private cars. Only bicycles. All residents of the new city are equipped with homologous teleportation stones. They can teleport within the new city every 5 seconds, of course only in streets and squares. There is no teleportation array in the building, which means you cannot teleport to supermarkets, companies, or other people's homes. The Zerg army invaded Togo New City and instantly killed many residents. Most of the residents used teleportation stones to teleport to the specially built and very hidden shelters in Togo New City. Currently, in Togo New City, only those powerful insect people and insect beasts can enjoy the corpses. Most flying insects and reptiles also invade buildings, destroy them, and look for lone humans. "Ali, my baby, where are you?" a middle-aged woman with a slightly fat figure cried desperately in the ruins. Togo New City was invaded by Zerg, and most residents used teleportation stones to take emergency shelter. But there were still a few people who did not take action, such as this middle-aged woman. Because before the disaster, her little daughter was playing outside, and now she was nowhere to be seen. As a mother, she couldn't let her daughter go and take shelter alone. And her cry instantly alarmed the 3 insect beasts around, 1 flying insect and 2 reptiles, and they were all god-level insect beasts. Whoosh! The flying insect was the fastest, and with the flap of its wings behind it, it flew out of the air and rushed towards the middle-aged woman at a very fast speed. The eyes of the flying insect were full of greed, and even drooled from its big mouth, and the fishy smell was pungent. The middle-aged woman was stunned for a moment. As the figure of the flying insect continued to enlarge in her pupils, she was instantly shrouded in boundless despair and closed her eyes almost instinctively. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Even at this moment, she was still worried about her little daughter, Ali. Between life and death. However, just when the flying insect flew 3 meters in front of the middle-aged woman, its body suddenly froze in mid-air, which was very strange. After the middle-aged woman was desperate, she opened her eyes and found that the terrifying flying insect was right in front of her. She was so scared that she almost fainted. In addition to her doubts, she looked around and found a man and a woman appeared not far away. Super God Undead Lord. Author, Ba Wang Shi-san. Chapter 735. The person who came was Yang Tian Lu Yan. At this time, Lu Yan had already opened the blood of the 9-tailed fox and turned into a human-shaped fox demon. The originally black and straight long hair like a waterfall turned into a strange silver-white color. A pair of fluffy ears grew on the top of the head. The hands also became fluffy, very cute, but there were very sharp claws hidden inside. A total of 9 snow-white, flying tails emerged from behind the buttocks. The 9-tailed fox is the king of the fox clan. She is beautiful and charming, bewitching people, and countless creatures of the opposite sex have knelt at her feet. Under a pair of white eyebrows, there are 2 different eyes, one red and one blue. This is her bloodline magic power natural charm, which makes people hallucinate and control creatures of the opposite sex. Of course, this powerful bloodline magic power can only control one creature of the opposite sex at a time, and the stronger the opponent, the weaker the control effect, or even no effect at all. At this time, Lu Yan charmed and controlled the flying insect. The expression of the flying insect instantly became extremely dull. Even if the middle-aged woman was right in front of it, it was a delicious meal for it, and it would not take any action. In most species, including humans, males are often higher in status. Because compared to women, males are stronger, so they have a higher status. But the Zerg is an exception. Because in the Zerg, the number of queens is too small, and males fight for the right to mate, which invisibly improves the status of queens. This is just one of the reasons. Another more important point is that the Zerg is an egg-laying species, and it is unknown how many offspring a queen will give birth to in her lifetime. The Zerg is huge in number and can rule the Zerg domain, which is inseparable from the existence of queens. So, even if resources are scarce for the Zerg, they are not enough anyway, and they need to constantly attack alien races and plunder resources. But queens enjoy resources first, and each one is a treasure, not a combat unit at all. Queens don't need to fight at all. That is why Lu Yan was able to act decisively at such a critical moment. She determined that the flying insect was a male insect. No. In fact, all the Zerg armies that invaded the Earth and other life planets were all male insects, not even a female insect. At that time, a flying insect and two reptiles formed a triangle and rushed towards the middle-aged woman at the same time. Among them, the flying insect was relatively close and the fastest. It rushed to the middle-aged woman first and was about to swallow her in one bite. At this critical moment, Lu Yan took action, charmed the flying insect, and controlled it. Lu Yan's eyes flashed, and the sluggish flying insect moved instantly. However, its target of attack was no longer the middle-aged woman, but swept to a reptile on the left, knocked it away, and then chased it and attacked continuously. Swoosh! At the same time, Lu Yan stretched out her hand to draw the bow, and an arrow shot out through the air, instantly piercing the body of the reptile on the right, and the filthy insect blood surged out, and it couldn't be deader. A large amount of insect blood splashed and poured down. Insect blood is poisonous. If ordinary people get a little bit of it, their bodies will fester, or even worse. And the middle-aged woman was not a Tegzu player before, but a standard ordinary person. There was no energy fluctuation on her body. The middle-aged woman was panicked, and suddenly found a small, translucent phantom of a divine turtle emerging from her body. The insect blood rushed down, but was blocked by the small phantom of the divine turtle, and the middle-aged woman was unharmed. And that kind of damage was borne by Yang Tian, which was equivalent to the insect blood pouring on him. Yang Tian frowned slightly and felt a slight burning pain in his body, but he recovered completely in an instant. His physique was too strong, and the insect blood of a first-level insect beast could not cause any harm to him. Yang Tian used the phantom of the divine turtle to save the middle-aged woman. Lu Yan flashed and flew out, with 9 snow-white and soft tails dancing wildly in the wind. The flying insect was bewitched and controlled by Lu Yan, and was killing its compatriots at this time. Lu Yan flew over and whipped up the 9 tails directly. The 9 tails swelled with the wind. They seemed soft, but they were actually very powerful. With just one blow, the 2 insect beasts were blown up. The battle was over. Lu Yan's body flashed with light and returned to normal human form. Afterwards, Yang Tian and Lu Yan used their spiritual senses to search for the middle-aged woman's little daughter, and finally found a little girl who was unconscious and very weak in a corner of the ruins. Thank you, both adults. The middle-aged woman knelt on the ground holding the little girl, tears and snot flowing, and thanked Yang Tian and Lu Yan profusely. Yang Tian shook his head and said, "Teleport to the shelter and find a priest to treat the child." The middle-aged woman nodded, took out the teleportation stone, and teleported away with her little daughter 5 seconds later. How many situations like this are there around the world? Lu Yan suddenly sighed. Distant water cannot quench a nearby fire, so we just need to focus on what is in front of us, Yang Tian said. Next, Yang Tian and Lu Yan acted together, using their spiritual sense to search for the Zerg in Togo New City and kill them together. The two cooperated very well, and the efficiency of killing the Zerg was very high. In addition, Yang Tian summoned a large army of undead. As he reached the 4th level of the Divine Realm, the army of undead he summoned became stronger. Team 1, Lich King, 5 Bone Dragons, 4th level Wild Beasts. Team 2, Black Knight, Nether Assassin, Vampire Count, Cerberus, Skeleton Demon General, 100 each, 500 in total, 3rd level Wild Beasts. Team 3, Skeleton Warriors, etc., totaling over 10,000, 2nd level Wild Beasts. This is a large and very powerful team. In reality, as long as the divine power is continuously used to nourish the undead army, it can exist forever, and the undead are difficult to be truly killed. Even if the body is damaged, it can be reassembled, which is very terrifying. If you want to crack the undead army, you must first kill the undead mage. In other words, Yang Tian is not dead, and the undead army is immortal. Goal: kill all the Zerg in the city, disperse. Yang Tian waved his hand, and the undead army dispersed and looked for targets to slaughter. The Zerg continued to invade, and the people on Earth survived in danger. In just a few months, the world government united all the countries under its command to build a new city. But there are relatively few new cities. Only local rich people, businessmen, dignitaries, and even talents with outstanding contributions in various fields, as well as their families, are eligible to have the right to live in new cities. More ordinary people still live in the original ordinary towns and villages. The Zerg invaded all parts of the world on a large scale, regardless of new cities or old cities. The survival rate of residents in new cities is higher. Once old cities, towns, and villages are invaded by Zerg, the residents have almost no chance of survival. The world is still so cruel. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 736. The new cities all have their own teleportation arrays, which is more conducive to the world government's rescue operations. The world government will naturally not give up the near and seek far, and first protect the new cities. As for the invaded old cities, towns, and villages, they can only sigh. With the death of countless compatriots, the hatred of the Earthlings against the Zerg has gradually intensified. In the blink of an eye, another half-month has passed. The number of Zerg killed by Yang Tian exceeded 100,000. This is just the ones he killed himself, and the number of Zerg killed by his undead army is even more immeasurable. In the past half-month, Yang Tian and Lu Yan have successively cleared the Zerg in more than 100 new cities. Yang Tian will leave a small number of undead to guard each rescued new city. Yang Tian and Lu Yan have made brilliant achievements, and other teams are not willing to lag behind, and almost all new cities have been saved. In each new city, more or less people will stay. And more people left the new city and went to the old city, towns, and villages to continue the rescue operation. One evening, Huangmao Xuanggro came to a remote village. It is winter now, with snow everywhere, especially in this mountainous area. The air is very cold. There are many red spots on the white snow, which are human blood stains. There are many red spots, all surrounded by insects, eating human corpses. They are still a step too late. The village has been invaded by Zerg, and the residents have been slaughtered by Zerg. Absolute zero. Sweep away thousands of troops. With the cooperation of Huangmao Xuanggro, a large group of Zerg were killed in an instant. At the same time, Xuanggro's face turned pale, and she suddenly lost her strength, and she felt weak physically and mentally. Zyro, Xuanggro half knelt on the ground, clenched her teeth, and her face was pale. Huangmao quickly bent down to hold her up. For the past half-month, the two have been working day and night. Huangmao's spirit and physical strength are still very full. But Xuanggro couldn't keep up with the pace, and today, she finally couldn't bear it. "Sorry, I didn't take care of you. Let's take a rest today," Huangmao said apologetically. Only then did he realize that not everyone could sweep through thousands of troops like himself. Xuanggro, a girl, had been silent for half a month in order not to drag him down, and now she was finally exhausted. Yes, Xuanggro nodded. She really couldn't bear it anymore, so she didn't force herself anymore, and Huangmao still helped her into a house. The air in the house was very dry and warm. After entering, Xuangro's face relaxed. There was no one else in this house. The original owner was either killed by the Zerg or escaped. Go Huangmao sent his dragon to continue sweeping the Zerg in the village, while he boiled water for Xuanggro. There were also bacon and old wine left by the original owner in the house. Huangmao roasted them directly and ate some with Xuanggro. Late at night, Xuanggro took a bath, ate and drank enough, and lay down to rest. Huangmao was very clumsy and very gentle to cover Xuanggro with a quilt. Huangmao was a rich young man, not good at taking care of others. He covered Xuanggro's head with a quilt, and hurriedly pulled it back awkwardly. Xuanggro was already very satisfied, and whispered, "It would be nice if it would be like this forever." Huangmao didn't seem to hear clearly. "Ah." Xuanggro blushed, nothing, then she closed her eyes happily. Huangmao shook his head, walked out of the door alone, and closed his eyes against the door sill to rest. The stars were bright in the night sky, very beautiful. Huangmao was not in the mood to appreciate them, and tonight was also a rare rest time for him. However, it happened that Huangmao closed his eyes for less than 10 minutes, and the phone rang. Huangmao closed his eyes and took out the phone, and after answering, he put it to his ear. "Xiaolong." A crisp female voice sounded. Huangmao was struck by lightning, and opened his eyes instantly. He pulled back the phone in disbelief and saw a string of unfamiliar phone numbers on it. However, Huangmao remembered the voice. "Ziyan, is that you?" Huangmao's voice trembled a little. After Ziyan left, Huangmao always missed her. Now that the Zerg invaded and the world was about to end, Huangmao was even more worried about her safety, and had been sending his avatars to look for her all over the world. He couldn't get through to Ziyan, and he didn't dare to change his mobile phone number. He was waiting for her call. "Where are you?" Huangmao had countless things to say, but he could only say one sentence after holding it in for a long time, and his voice was a little choked. Ziyan quit the game early. Although everyone is awakening now, Ziyan must be an awakener, but her strength is definitely not strong, even very weak, only a few dozen levels. Ziyan is Huangmao's first love, and they have been dating for several years, and the two have a deep emotional foundation. It was just a misunderstanding at the beginning, and it was not Ziyan's fault. And Ziyan left, Huangmao couldn't let it go at all. Now that the Zerg invaded the Earth and the world was about to end, Huangmao was even more worried about Ziyan's safety. After all, Ziyan quit the game too early, and compared to the Zerg, she was just an ant-like existence. "Xiaolong, back then. Don't mention the past anymore. You are still the woman I love the most." Huangmao interrupted Ziyan rudely and asked forcefully, "Tell me the address." Ziyan said a string of addresses with relief. Huangmao turned his head and looked at the bedside. He didn't know when Xuanggro turned over and leaned against the wall. He pondered for a moment and said, "Tomorrow, tomorrow I will go to find you. I will never let you leave me again." After the call, Huangmao closed his eyes again and leaned against the door sill, waiting for dawn. At dawn, Shenlong happened to be back. "I'm going out for a trip, and you stay here to protect Zyro. You'll follow her orders and you're not allowed to run around, okay?" Huangmao stared at Shenlong. "Oh." Shenlong nodded obediently. This dragon was hatched by Huangmao in the later stages of Taixu. It is still a little dragon and quite naughty. Huangmao said no more and left. Shenlong flew into the house and happened to see Xuanggro sitting up from the bed. Her eyes were red and there were still tears in the corners of her eyes. Her eyes were dull, as if something was broken. "Zyro. Boss, I just stopped for a night's rest because of you, but you don't seem to be sleeping well," Shenlong asked doubtfully. It can be seen that Xuangro's mental state is still not very good. "I can't sleep." Xuanggro heard Huangmao and Ziyan's phone calls last night and stayed up all night. "Why can't you sleep?" Shenlong was very simple. "Because the person I like likes others," Xuanggro said, her heart hurting, and she shed tears again. "Are you talking about the boss? He should go find Ziyan." Shenlong seemed to understand something and said with a strange smile. "In exchange, of course." Xuanggro rolled her eyes. "Boss, Zyro said she likes you, but she didn't sleep all night. Zyro, it's true that the boss likes Ziyan, but he also cares about you, otherwise he wouldn't have sent me to stay to protect you, Shenlong said to Xuanggro while transmitting a message to Huang Mao. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super God Undead Lord. Author, Ba Wang Shi-san. Chapter 737. You haven't slept all night, Huang Mao suddenly understood. He called Ziyan last night, and she must have heard it. As soon as he thought of this, Huang Mao felt a sting in his heart. Favors are hard to repay, and love debts are even harder to repay. Blinking his moist eyes, Huang Mao stopped thinking about this and flew towards Ziyan. In a city square, a beautiful girl was leaning on the railing behind her, looking around on tiptoes. Ziyan. Following a cry of joy, Huang Mao's figure flashed over like lightning. The two opened their arms and hugged each other tightly. The scene was very warm. Where have you been these past few years? I've been looking for you everywhere. Huang Mao hugged the girl tightly, smelling the familiar fragrance, and recounted the pain of lovesickness. Ah! Before he finished speaking, Huang Mao suddenly felt a stinging pain in his heart and blood flowed. At the same time, Huang Mao's body surface instantly reflected the wave of magic energy, knocking the girl in his arms away. The force was so strong that it knocked down all the railings. Immediately afterwards, Huang Mao's body surface also shot out countless bone spurs at the same time, instantly turning the beautiful girl who was half kneeling on the ground into a hedgehog, and the dirty blood stained her body black. With a clang, the girl turned pale, vomited blood, and a sharp dagger in her hand fell to the ground. Magic reflection and thorns. These are the blood magical powers of the demon dragon and the iron-backed thorn dragon in Huang Mao's body, and they are also passive magical powers. Only when Huang Mao is attacked from a close range within 5 meters will he automatically reflect and protect his body. You are not Ziyan. If the heart is pierced, most people will perish long ago. Even Huang Mao was sweating profusely, his face was pale, and his breath was extremely weak and sluggish. He stared at the girl who was kneeling on the ground, looking equally miserable, with anger and disbelief on her face, and said, "You are not Ziyan, who are you?" Ziyan smiled evilly, her body changed, and she turned into an insect man in an instant. It was the phantom insect that Huang Mao had fought against before. Damn it, I didn't expect this guy to have such a powerful body protecting power. The phantom insect's face was twitching and ferocious, the insect body was damaged everywhere, and filthy insect blood continued to flow out, full of stench. It's you can actually become a human, and your aura is well hidden. Huang Mao's consciousness continued to blur, and the figure of the phantom insect in front of him also began to blur. He was sustained solely by his tenacity of willpower. Haha, of course I can't transform at will. The reason why I became this woman is because I ate this woman and accepted all her memories. Can you imagine, when I ate this woman, her expression of despair? Phantom insect was also seriously injured. He smiled evilly and coughed up blood as he spoke. You deserve to die, Huang Mao roared angrily. He was so angry that he spat out a large mouthful of blood and fell to the ground, fainting. In order to deal with this kid, I almost risked my life. Phantom insect sneered, still feeling guilty. In the beginning, the reason why Phantom insect dared to promise to General Deep Blue was to be responsible for settling Yangtian Huang Mao. Just because he ate Ziyan, he could become Ziyan and have Ziyan's memory. Ziyan is like Huang Mao's life gate. It is too easy to use this trick to deal with Huang Mao. In fact, he succeeded, even though he himself was seriously injured. Then, if he eats Huang Mao and uses the same method to deal with Yang Tian, he will be done. Brush. Suddenly, the phantom insect flashed with light and continued to expand in size. In an instant, he returned to his true form. And his body is a very huge dark insect beast. When an insect beast reaches the second level of wild beast, it can evolve into an insect man, while the insect man's body is still an insect beast. When bug men and bug beasts have the same power, it is obvious that bug men are more flexible. Therefore, bug men generally will not change back to their original form unless they are eating people. After the phantom insect returned to its true form, it approached Huang Mao, opened its big mouth, and prepared to devour Huang Mao. However, just as he bit Huang Mao, he was hit by the backlash of magic energy fluctuations and bone spurs, and was knocked out again. With a muffled groan, filthy insect blood splashed to the ground. What? Even if he is unconscious, his body protecting magical power can still be activated. Phantom insect's face was twitching, and his eyes were staring at Huang Mao, who was lying on the ground and had fainted, flashing an unbelievable look. Damn it, I can't even swallow it. Not only was the phantom insect seriously injured after being hit hard twice in a row, he was furious in his heart and wanted to kill Huang Mao. At this time, Huang Mao had fainted and had no ability to resist. The phantom insect could easily kill Huang Mao by using long-range attacks. But if he kills Huang Mao, he will have no way to deal with Yang Tian. Since we can't devour him, we can only use him as a hostage and force Yang Tian to come over. But, now I am no match for Yang Tian. It seems that we can only ask the general to take action personally. After the phantom insect pondered for a while, it turned into an insect man again. Bang! Because of the serious injury, the feeling of weakness coming from the insect body made him half kneeling on the ground in an instant. Here comes someone. The phantom insect sent out a wave and summoned the nearby Zerg to come over. In an instant, a large group of insect humans and beasts came to the square. You, go back to your home and ask the general to come over. Phantasmal insect pointed at an intermediate insect man and ordered. Yes, the intermediate insect man took the order and flew away instantly. The phantom insects turned back into their original bodies again and began to devour insect beasts frantically to recover from their injuries. The insect beasts trembled and dared not resist at all. As for the insect men, they were terrified. They could see that the phantom insects were extremely weak at this time. If the phantom insects wanted to devour them, they would definitely resist. The insect race was originally a violent species. Although they would submit to power, they had no loyalty. The insect men already had enough wisdom, and it was impossible that they would not resist even when they were dying. Of course, as long as the phantom insects did not devour them, they would not rebel. After all, the phantom insects were high-level insect men, and a lean camel was bigger than a horse. The phantom insects were also very smart and cunning. They only devoured insect beasts and did not move insect men. At least before the injuries were mostly recovered, they would not move insect men to avoid being killed by backlash. At the same time, the village where the frost-soft dragon was. Not good, the master is in danger. The dragon suddenly roared, with a mighty dragon. This dragon is Huang Mao's contracted pet. Their souls are connected. They can communicate with each other no matter how far apart they are. They can also sense each other's breath. Huang Mao has his original body and his divine clone. So for this dragon, it has two masters. At this moment, it senses that the breath of one of its masters is very weak and is on the verge of death. Zyro, I'm going to save the master. Be careful, the dragon said, and it had already taken off. I'm going to. How could Xuangrou feel at ease when she heard that Huang Mao was in danger? Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 738. Huang Mao's body is very strong. In the evening, he opened his eyes. Of course, his injuries had not recovered. His body was still very weak and his face was as pale as paper. He lay on the ground, raised his head with great effort, and saw the body of the phantom insect that was recovering. What a terrifying body! Even if the heart was pierced, it can still wake up. Feeling the fluctuations of Huang Mao's breath, the phantom insect also opened his eyes, with a look of shock. If this person doesn't die, it will definitely be a huge hidden danger for our Zerg. The phantom insect looked at Huang Mao and was very afraid. Fortunately, he had received news that General Shenlan was about to bring troops. Today, whether it was Huang Mao or Yang Tian, they would all die. Huang Mao stared at the phantom insect, without saying a word, but tears were streaming down his face. Ziyan retired too early and her strength was too weak. After the end of the world, Huang Mao was worried about Ziyan's safety every moment, and he also thought about her having an accident. And now, Ziyan is really dead. And he was being devoured alive by this dirty Zerg in front of him. Huang Mao felt a sharp pain in his heart when he imagined the despair that Ziyan had endured at that time. He hated it. He wanted to cut the phantom insect into pieces. Haha, I can't understand your human feelings, but you must be in pain now. At the beginning, I devoured that woman and obtained her memory. I didn't expect that she was still thinking about you before she died. Haha, you are also a dying person now, are you thinking about her too? The phantom insect stared at Huang Mao with a very dirty and perverted smile. His ability is to transform into the person he devours and carry his memory. With this trick, he killed many aliens and was deeply appreciated by General Shenlan. He was also very good at using this trick to play with people's hearts and enjoy himself. If Huang Mao didn't have a powerful body protection magic, he wouldn't need General Shenlan to take action at all. He could deal with Yang Tian Huang Mao by himself. Now, although there was a little accident, General Shenlan was about to bring people here, and the result would not change. The phantom insect was very calm, so he would not miss the opportunity to play with the yellow-haired man. Shut up, I must kill you, the yellow-haired man roared and coughed up blood. The soul consciousness of the original body and the divine clone was connected. When the original body of the yellow-haired man was in trouble, the divine clone would naturally rush here as soon as possible. Today, even if he had to risk his life, he would kill the phantom insect with his own hands. Kill me, haha. The phantom insect seemed to have heard the funniest joke in the world, and laughed wildly. You can't even move now, how can you kill me? Then, the phantom insect said teasingly, Huang Xiaolong, do you know why I don't kill you? The yellow-haired man was silent. The phantom insect smiled grimly, because I want to take you as a hostage and force Yang Tian to come over, and then I will catch you all in one fell swoop. Bullshit, he is stronger than me, and you will be reduced to ashes in an instant, the yellow-haired man sneered. Hiss. The phantom insect took a breath of cold air and trembled with anger. However, what Huang Mao said was the truth, and he had no way to refute it. Humph, of course I don't need to do anything. When the time comes, General Shenlan will personally kill Yang Tian. The phantom insect snorted coldly and said, I have arranged everything. You just wait to die. The yellow-haired man closed his eyes and said no more. Next, it depends on whose reinforcements arrive first. If General Shenlan arrives first, then his physical body will have to be left here. If his divine clone arrives first, he can kill the phantom insect, avenge Ziyan, and save himself and escape. No. You don't have to escape. General Shenlan? It won't be too late to wait for a while. The yellow-haired man closed his eyes and adjusted his breath. Seeing that Huang Mao stopped talking, the phantom insect lost interest and continued to recover from his injuries. The square in the middle of the night fell into silence. A group of insect people and insect beasts around were also quietly waiting for the final outcome. Ang. Suddenly, a long and majestic dragon roar broke the silence in the night sky. Hearing the majestic dragon roar, all the insects present, except for the phantom insects, trembled a little. You know, human strongmen have domineering power, and beast strong men also have beast power. The dragon power of dragon beasts is very restraining against insects and snakes. Yang Tian's Tang snake was very afraid of dragon beasts at the beginning and wanted to evolve into dragon beasts. This is the reason. One step ahead of Huang Mao's divine clone, Xuangrou rode the dragon and rushed to the square first. Wanfu, I ordered you to protect Xiaorou and don't run around. You are so good, you even brought people here. Huang Mao opened his eyes and roared, furious. This Wanfu is naturally the name Huang Mao gave to the dragon. Yang Tian's skill in naming pets is quite profound. Obviously, Huang Mao is not inferior to the former in this aspect. Boss, Xiaorou came here by herself, and she was so stubborn that I couldn't stop her. Wanfu looked very aggrieved when Huang Mao scolded him. Xuangrou blushed. Bullshit, you can't stop a patient? Get out of here, don't make me angry, Huang Mao roared. This Wanfu dragon is very young, but very smart and naughty. Huang Mao sometimes gets a tingling sensation on his scalp. Although Wanfu is very sincere, he came to rescue him as soon as he was in trouble, which is very touching. But Huang Mao is very worried. Although Wanfu is a divine dragon, its dragon might can restrain insects and beasts, but it is only a third-level wild beast after all. Because of its dragon might, it can beat 10,000 intermediate insects. But its dragon might is ineffective against high-level insects and phantom insects. Because of the realm suppression, it is no match for phantom insects. What's more, there is also Xuangrou, whose breath is still very weak and has not recovered at all. Even if Wanfu can't beat the phantom insects, he can protect himself, but Xuangrou can't. Huang Mao is mainly worried about Xuangrou's safety. Wanfu ignored the master's order directly, and it didn't roll. Boss, we'll come to save you now. Wanfu's eyes were firm, and he sprayed hot dragon flames from his mouth. Ah! Many insects and beasts present were unable to move because of the suppression of dragon might. Burned by the hot dragon flames, they made miserable cries continuously. Seeing Wanfu restraining the Zerg, Xuangrou turned over and swooped down, picked up Huang Mao, and fled backwards quickly. Looking at Xuangrou who was fighting for him, Huang Mao had tears in his eyes. Apart from Xian and his mother, Xuangrou was the woman who loved him the most, and she was willing to save him regardless of danger. Silly girl, there are so many good men in the world, but you have to fight for me. Huang Mao choked with sobs. Hearing Huang Mao's inadvertent words full of hints, Xuangrou's face was burning and her heart was beating like a drum. This is an opportunity. No matter how many good men there are in the world, I only love you. Xuangrou mustered up the courage to formally confess to Huang Mao, but her heart was trembling in panic, as if an invisible hand was pinching her throat. After a long time, she could only say, Master protects his apprentice, and it is right for the apprentice to save his master. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 739. In the blazing golden flames, the insects and beasts screamed. Because of the influence of Wanfu Longwei, they were all unable to move and were gradually refined. Looking for death, the phantom insect roared. The reason why he didn't kill Huang Mao was that he wanted to lure Yang Tian over. At that time, General Shenlan personally took action and killed Yang Tian and Huang Mao in one fell swoop. After that, the earth became their nest. However, if the seriously injured Huang Mao was rescued, then the work would be in vain. Rather than doing this, it would be better to kill Huang Mao first. With this thought, the phantom insect rushed towards Wanfu angrily and blasted him. Wanfu spit out golden blood from his mouth, and his whole body flew backwards like a kite with a broken string, and his breath wilted in an instant. Xiaorou, I'll stop him, you take the boss away first. Shenlong Wanfu, loyal to his master. No need. Huang Mao shook his head. As soon as the voice fell, another man wearing golden armor, a red cape, and riding a green dragon came quickly. It was Huang Mao's divine clone. Huangmao and his divine clone were originally the same soul. When one side was in trouble, the other side would naturally provide the fastest support. Huangmao's divine clone had already rushed here when the phantom insect turned into Ziyan and used this to pierce Huangmao's heart. This support speed was faster than the speed at which the phantom insect asked Shenlan for support. Magical Power Dragon God Dive. After one blow, the earth exploded and smoke and dust swept the entire square. When the smoke and dust cleared, Huangmao's divine clone stepped on the corpse of the phantom insect to put an end to this battle. Everyone gathered. At the end of the battle, Huangmao looked sad and had no joy at all. Wanfu said, "Boss, the dead cannot be resurrected, please accept my condolences." It was in tune with Huangmao's mind and it knew how deeply Huangmao loved Ziyan. Now that it has confirmed that Ziyan is dead, it certainly understands how much this incident affects Huangmao. Hearing this, Huangmao glanced at the festering corpse of the phantom insect next to him, and a trace of anger flashed in his eyes. However, the phantom insect is dead, and it is meaningless to vent on a corpse. Phantom insect, you are very scheming, but unfortunately you are not strong enough, so you have fallen to this end. As the voice fell, General Shenlan came with a black wind. Wherever he passed, there was a fishy smell of the sea. The three Huangmao hurriedly retreated, and Huangmao's divine clone flew up to meet him and said, "Are you Shenlan?" "Yes, I have chosen your planet as a nest for recuperation, you should feel honored." Shenlan looked like a deep sea yaksha, holding a trident in the air, and talking freely. As he spoke, an illusory sea area emerged around him, sea dragons, sea snakes, sea orzas, octopuses, countless illusory sea beasts roared wildly, with great momentum. General Shenlan is like the king of the deep sea, with awe without anger. If it were before, Huangmao would have been surprised, but now he has dabbled in the 3,000 great Daos. The phantom created by Shenlan is obviously just a certain great Dao mystery. He is calm in the face of danger, worthy of the style of a great general. Seeing Huangmao's expressionless face, Shenlan couldn't help but praise, "The phantom insect has mentioned Yang Tian and Huang Xiao in front of me many times. Are you Huang Xiao?" Huangmao just snorted. Shenlan said, "I think you are only the third level of the divine realm, but you can kill the phantom insects above your level. Now you are not humble even when facing me, a genius like you, since you were not born in my insect race, you can only die. That depends on you. You have to be able to do it." Ang, accompanied by a high-pitched and powerful dragon roar, Huangmao in the air opened the 3 stages of the rising dragon transformation and transformed into a dragon man. His aura continued to rise and surge. Then, Huangmao activated the tyrant dragon might, and his aura surged tenfold. The vast divine power swept out wildly, and in an instant, all the deep blue ocean mysteries, that is, those phantoms, were defeated and disintegrated. Now, Huangmao himself didn't know what realm his divine power was in. But Shenlan stared at Huangmao, trembling, and muttered, "The 6th level of the divine realm, it's actually the 6th level of the divine realm, comparable to my Zerg general. Among the Zerg, those below the 4th level are all ants. The 5th level strongman is named Zerg general, with great power in hand, and can command Zerg beasts and Zerg people. The 6th level strongman is named general, with stronger strength and higher status. And Shenlan himself is only a 5th level strongman, just an ordinary Zerg general, and is definitely not Huangmao's opponent now. What's more, Huangmao's dragon power is very restrained to him. Now he can only exert 1/10 of his strength against Huangmao, so he is naturally terrified. Damn it, this planet of life is so lacking in spiritual energy, how could such a monster be born?" Shenlan stared at Huangmao, feeling the dragon power on him, and wanted to crawl down. How could he have the heart to fight? He turned around and fled in a hurry. At this time, he felt regretful and bitter. He had just recovered from a serious injury. If he had known that there was such a person on Earth, how dare he attack? Die. Huang Mao's feet were like wind, and he flashed behind Shenlan. He swept the yellow dragon spear in his hand forward, and Shenlan's head was separated from his body. General Shenlan was the commander-in-chief of the Zerg who invaded the Earth this time, but he was vulnerable to Huang Mao. Looking at Huang Mao's heroic back in the air, Xuang Guo sighed inexplicably. Moreover, that was just Huang Mao's divine clone. If Huang Mao's original body, who she was holding in her hand, was not seriously injured, his strength would probably be even stronger. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 740. Another half a year has passed. Since that day, after General Deep Blue and the Phantom Bug were killed by Huang Mao one after another, the Zerg army was defeated. In the past 6 months, although there are still Zergs invading the Earth, they are only scattered and weak Zergs, which cannot pose a threat to the Earth at all. So, the people on Earth have spent these 6 months very comfortably. Huang Mao's injury has long been healed, and his strength has greatly improved. One morning, Yang Tian came to the desert alone, looking at the huge black hole in front of him, silent. This is the wormhole in the mysterious pyramid of ancient Egypt. Today, the pyramid, and even the entire ancient Egypt, no longer exist, only this wormhole has always existed. The wormhole is pitch black, like nothingness, and the faint gravity from time to time makes people dare not approach easily. As a user of the mystery of space, Yang Tian can very sensitively capture the space fluctuations in this wormhole. The other side of this wormhole is obviously a worm star, and the Zerg invaded the Earth from it. After 6 months of training, Yang Tian's physical body and divine power have reached the 5th level. With such strong strength, it is not difficult to blow up the Earth with one punch. However, even with such a strong strength, Yang Tian's heart has been hanging, and he dare not relax for a moment. In the past 6 months, because Huang Mao was recovering from his injuries, Yang Tian was responsible for guarding this large desert. During this period, the Zerg that continued to invade the Earth were all destroyed by Yang Tian and his undead army. Because the Zerg that invaded the Earth here were very weak, Yang Tian had no pressure to solve them. But who knows, in the next second, will a super worm king crawl out of this wormhole? In short, the wormhole has taken root in the Earth. As long as this wormhole is not removed, Yang Tian and everyone in the world will not be at ease. Suddenly, Feng Xian with long fiery red hair floated out of Yang Tian's body and said, "This wormhole was created by the mystery of space. It can be destroyed by using the mystery of space. You are quite talented in the avenue of space, and you have recently learned the mystery of space, space collapse. It's a pity that your cultivation is too low and your divine power is too weak, so you are helpless." Hearing Feng Xian's words of sarcasm and encouragement, Yang Tian secretly clenched his fists. According to Feng Xian, in the 8th level of the divine realm, space collapse can be used to destroy the wormhole. It's a pity that I am currently only in the 5th level of the divine realm, and there is still a long way to go from the realm that Feng Xian said. If I practice step by step like this, if there is no opportunity, it will take at least 3 to 5 years. 3 to 5 years. God knows if the king of the Zerg will invade the Earth during this period. Yang Tian didn't dare to think too much, but he couldn't do nothing either. With a snap, Yang Tian snapped his fingers, and the space in front of him suddenly split like a black cavity. In the rolling black death, the evil Lich King with a pair of scarlet triangular eyes slowly appeared. Yang Tian separated a wisp of divine thought and perfectly controlled the Lich King, and then stepped into the wormhole. For the mysterious space wormhole, Yang Tian has always been interested in exploring it, wanting to see what monsters are behind it. Now he finally has the opportunity to do it. Of course, as a necromancer, Yang Tian doesn't have to take risks himself, and using the undead to explore the enemy is the kingly way. In a flash, the Lich King came to the other side of the wormhole alone, that is, on the Ju-Wang star. Through a wisp of divine thought attached to the Lich King, and with the help of the Lich King's eyes, Yang Tian was able to glimpse a corner of the Ju-Wang star for the first time. Densely packed. This is Yang Tian's first impression of the Ju-Wang star. What is densely packed? 1. Space wormholes. All the space wormholes of different sizes are visible. Obviously, each space wormhole corresponds to a different planet, and the Earth is just one of them, which is insignificant. 2. Zerg. The number of Zerg on this planet is difficult to measure, like a sea of worms. Every minute and every second, countless Zerg will step into various space wormholes like going to the market and invade different planets. Seeing such a scene in front of him, Yang Tian was deeply shocked and felt very complicated. Yang Tian originally thought that only the Earth had space wormholes, but now it seems that there are obviously countless planets with space wormholes. Yang Tian was quite fortunate about this. Although this idea is a bit sorry for the creatures on other planets, at least he understands that the probability of the Earth being focused on by the Zerg is not high. Of course, the low degree of danger does not mean that there is no danger. Just like a sheep facing a hunter is dangerous, 100 sheep facing a hunter is also dangerous. Sheep are just prey after all. Moreover, the role change, the Zerg representing the hunter, their base number is so large, which also makes Yang Tian feel stressed. Crack, crack. The appearance of the Lich King, an alien, instantly attracted the attention of the surrounding Zergs. Countless Zergs pounced on him. Before Yang Tian could react, he found that the Lich King's limbs were bitten to pieces. Then, the Lich King was eaten and devoured by the Zerg. Yang Tian's divine consciousness was annihilated along with the Lich King, which also traumatized his soul. At that moment, he felt dizzy and wretched. Although the exploration of Ju-Wang star was not successful, Yang Tian also gained a little. After that, he retreated again, hoping to break through the realm again. Unfortunately, his mind was full of the horrific scenes he saw on Ju-Wang star, and he could not calm down for a while. He practiced for several days but gained nothing. Finally, half a month later, the Earth welcomed 2 mysterious visitors. Their body shapes and faces are quite similar to those of Earthlings, except that their skulls are very prominent and huge, like a hat on their heads, which looks a bit funny and ridiculous. Encountering aliens for the first time in their lives, the Earth's strong men were panicked and stunned for a while, not knowing how to deal with them. Yang Tian Liuyan recognized the identities of the 2 at a glance, Hat Star people. About 2 years ago, Yang Tian Liuyan formed a team to go on a mission, driving a spaceship to explore a certain insect star. 4 teammates died for some reason, and Yang Tian Liuyan was lucky to be rescued by a Hat Star person named Aichi. Through a short time together, Yang Tian Liuyan obtained some information from Aichi, and at the same time, he had a little understanding of the 10 domains of the universe for the first time. Afterwards, Yang Tian even borrowed a third-order spaceship from Aichi for a quick return. And among the 2 Hat Star people who visited Earth this time, there happened to be Aichi. Hi, Yang. Aiki. Haha, I didn't expect you to be this strong after 2 years. After greeting each other, Aiki talked to Yang Tian very enthusiastically. His words and actions showed that he was happy for his friend, but more of it was shock. After all, in Aiki's memory, Yang Tian was as weak as an ant 2 years ago. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 741. Hat Starman, this is just Yang Tian's personal teasing name for Aiki and his friends. In fact, Aiki and his friends' true identity is Remtaba Starman, and their planet is Remtaba Star, which is one of the most powerful planets in the insect domain. Remtaba Star was once just a high-level martial arts world. Earlier, a scholar from Remtaba Star came to Earth and spent half his life. With his intelligence and developed mind, he fully mastered the technology of Earth, surpassing his predecessor. Of course, the life level of Remtaba Starmen is far higher than that of Earthlings. You should know that the average life expectancy of Remtaba Starmen is over 500 years old. In other words, the half-life of that scholar was equivalent to several centuries on Earth. After that scholar returned, he vigorously developed his mother planet. In just a few years, the technological civilization of Remtaba Star was far ahead of Earth. Don't forget the well digger when you take water. That scholar always maintained a kind thought and good impression of Earth and Earthlings. Otherwise, he would not have specially developed Tegzu and given it to Earth. As time passed, the scholar gradually aged and became an ancestor on Remtabas. Because of his subtle influence, the majority of Remtabas people, even if they have never seen Earthlings, have a good impression of Earthlings. Haha, Yang. I didn't expect that you have become so strong in just 2 years. Ike was very shocked. Yang Tian's mouth corners raised. 2 years ago, he barely had the combat power of the Holy Domain, and he had no power to resist the god-level insect beasts. At that time, Ike claimed to be a third-level cosmic warrior, and according to the realm of the upper domain, it was the third level of the god realm. Now, Yang Tian's cultivation has reached the 5th level of the god realm, while Ike is still the 3rd level of the god realm. In 2 years, Yang Tian has become more than 100 times stronger, while Ike has remained where he is. It's no wonder that Ike was so shocked. Ha, this is all thanks to you Hat Star people. If there was no Tegzu, I think our Earth would have long been reduced to a Zerg nest. Yang Tian laughed, showing some of the heroism that a landlord should have. After all, Aichi and his companions were far away and were guests. Seeing Yang Tian praising the Hat Star people and Tegzu, Aichi and his companions immediately showed proud and satisfied smiles. On the contrary, a group of Earth-strong men were confused, and Xiaofei was even more puzzled. Brother Shui, Tegzu did make us successful, but what does this have to do with the Hat Star people? Xiaofei also directly called Aichi and his companions the Hat Star people, which shows that this is not Yang Tian's personal prejudice. Yang Tian laughed and said, "It's very simple, because Tegzu was created by the Hat Star people." As soon as these words came out, everyone present was shocked. Yang Tian had no choice but to tell the whole story. So that's how it is. Countless strong men such as Rong Chuang, Sword Emperor and Demon Right Hand were all amazed, deeply feeling the vastness of the world, and at the same time they firmly believed that the Earth was about to enter the interstellar era. We naturally know the various wonders of Tegzu. It is like a huge training ground that can make people grow up quickly, but it also has limitations. In Tegzu, your limit is the 3rd level cosmic warrior, and you can't continue to break through no matter what. Ike looked at Yang Tian deeply and said, "Yang, I can't see through you now. I guess your strength has far surpassed the 3rd level cosmic warrior." Yang Tian shrugged and didn't comment. He changed the subject again and said, "Ike, what's the matter with you coming here this time?" Ike nodded and talked about business, the division of the 10 domains of the universe. "I guess you are already clear, and the domain we are in is the insect domain." Hearing this, everyone nodded again and again, looking forward to the next. Ike said, "The strongest force in the Zerg domain is the Zerg, which can be seen from the domain name. The force second only to the Zerg, or the force that can compete with the Zerg, is the Galaxy Alliance. In addition to the above 2 forces, any third-party force, whether you are a planet, an organization, a guild, or an individual, will be the target of the Zerg's erosion." Someone nodded and said, "Well, any other force, any planet, if you want to survive safely, you must find a way to join the Galaxy Alliance and seek the protection of the Alliance." "That's right." Ike looked at the man with appreciation and said, "If we join the Galaxy Alliance, the Alliance has the responsibility and obligation to protect us. Since joining the Galaxy Alliance has such a guarantee, I believe that it will not be easy for people to join this time. the speaker was a leader who was very rational, which made many people who took it for granted gradually calm down. That's right. Ike did not comment, there is no free lunch in the world. If you want to join the Alliance and get the protection of the Alliance, you must have corresponding value. Even if we have the protection of our Remtaba star, if you want to join the Alliance, you must meet the standards of the Alliance assessment. Another hat star, Elu, also said. What standards? Countless people asked eagerly. The Alliance needs strong people. Elu talked freely, a 7th level space warrior is as powerful as the Zerg King. If a planet wants to join the Alliance, it only needs to provide the Alliance with a 7th level space warrior. When Elu said this, countless people were instantly depressed. 7th level space warrior? What a joke. On Earth today, even the kingly Shui Ji and Huang Shao are far from that realm. At this time, Elu said, the 7th level cosmic warriors with strength comparable to the Zerg King are truly outstanding people. On average, there is not 1 in 10,000 planets, therefore, the Alliance has also relaxed the assessment standards. If there is no quality, then use quantity to make up for it. If there is no 7th level cosmic warrior, there are 10 6th level cosmic warriors who can join the Alliance. If there are no 10 6th level cosmic warriors, there are 100 5th level cosmic warriors who can join the Alliance. If there are no 100 5th level cosmic warriors, there are 1,000 4th level cosmic warriors who can join the Alliance. If there are no 1,000 4th level cosmic warriors, there are 10,000 3rd level cosmic warriors who can join the Alliance. And so on. Great, that is to say, if the number of 1st level cosmic warriors reaches 1 million, it can also meet the requirements, Xiao Fei said anxiously, and everyone's heart moved. Looking at the Earth today, only the 1st level cosmic warriors meet the requirements in terms of quantity under the above conditions.